Hey everyone, welcome back to our G2G Facebook. I was going to say live, but we're actually not live today. You're not going to catch us live until April because what we wanted to do was do a 3-part series around sticky situations that you might find yourself in as a grad student at U of T or elsewhere. I mean, these problems transfer across universities. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some acting for you over the next 3 parts of this 3-part series. And we've asked a different G2G team member who you've yet to meet if they would come and join us to do some acting, some debriefing, and share some of their knowledge with you all. So in case you've forgotten who I am, or this is your first time tuning in, I'm Margot. I am a PhD candidate in the Department of English, and I'm also part of Sexual Diversity Studies. And I am one of the G2G, or grad to grad, peer advisors. Today's guest is Megan.
Thanks for having me.
Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am a first-year master's student. I'm doing an M.Ed in the Department of Applied Psychology and Human Development.
Great. And do you want to tell us a little bit about the CRC and what we do?
Absolutely. So we are all grad students, and we are an informal support service. So we want to talk to you about whatever's going on, your problems, conflicts, however you define that, big, small, academic related, could be a little bit more personal, could be about roommate issues, interpersonal issues, lab mate issues. So many reasons that you could come to us for support. We want to help you find strategies to deal with conflict. We want to help brainstorm and plan out, how to deal with your conflict, your issue, and help you kind of make a plan and set some goals. We do also really help you navigate resources on campus. So it's pretty overwhelming. There's so many different things that can help you on campus, and we kind of guide you to what would be best depending on your situation. We do one-to-one appointments. We do tons of workshops on some cool topics, and just kind of do like awareness about how to deal with conflict in general. So follow us on Twitter if you haven't already.
Great, and we'll include that link in the comments in case you don't already have us there. Now you might be noticing that someone is missing from this scene today, but don't you worry. My fellow Facebook Live pal, Sam, is going to be joining us for a little acting. So today's skit is about career collision. Gwen is an upper year PhD student in education, getting ready to submit a final draft of her thesis. Gwen hasn't yet told her supervisor that pursuing academia is no longer something she wants to do. In fact, Gwen has even gone for an interview for an exciting new job. She has just received 2 emails, one from her supervisor and another from a prospective employer. Email 1 is dated January 30th, 2018.
Hi Gwen, I thought we should set up a meeting to talk about next steps now that you're getting closer to submitting your dissertation. Let's meet on Thursday of this week to discuss. Sincerely, Professor Winnicott.
The next day, Gwen receives another email, January 31st, 2018.
Awesome. Dear Gwen, thank you for coming in on Monday for the interview. Please let me know, we're pleased to let you know that we'd like to offer you the position here at EduTech Industries. Woo! Please let us know when you've submitted your thesis so that we can schedule your start date by July 1st. Yes! We're sure that will give you enough time. Best, Anthony Stark.
2 days later, at Gwen's meeting with her supervisor.
I know you're getting close to wrapping up this chapter of your thesis, and you'll be ready to finalize your revisions shortly, but I really think the work you've been doing could be expanded into a postdoctoral fellowship project with me.
Wow, thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh, it's no problem. I've already contacted a potential collaborator, and they're keen to work with you as well. We're all getting ready for the long haul.
Well, thank you, Professor Winnicott. This is such an incredible opportunity, but I do have some exciting news that I wanted to share with you. So back in September when I was at the Education Matters conference, a representative from EduTech Industries saw my presentation, and they recently asked me to come in for an interview. So I just found out yesterday that I got the job.
What? Who contacted you? Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were serious about pursuing a postdoc.
Well, remember at our last committee meeting, I mentioned that I might be interested in other opportunities other than academics.
I thought you were just thinking about that. I didn't know you were actually serious. Because at that meeting, I also remember mentioning to you that I was going to reach out to about a future collaboration.
Well, I've really enjoyed our work together and working with you. It's been really great, but EduTech Industries, they have some very exciting, groundbreaking research, and I'd really love to be a part of that frontier.
Are you saying that you don't find this postdoc work exciting? This is my life's work you're talking about.
Well, and they've told me that I can start July 1st, so once I've submitted my final draft, once I have your approval for that, that's when I'd like to start.
Well, this is very disappointing, Gwen. I really thought you had what it took to follow in my footsteps. And as for that July 1st deadline, I'm just not sure if your thesis will be approved by then. That last chapter needs to be published if you're planning to not continue with this research.
Okay, wow. What a pickle of a situation we have found ourselves in. So let's do some debriefing. What went wrong there? How could we have avoided that whole situation from the beginning? And what can Gwen do sort of like moving forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, certainly the conflict was really revolving around a lack of communication. Gwen was planning for a change in a working relationship without communicating that change with the other person. So Gwen was involved in a supervisory relationship, and she wanted to leave that to go for a different job, and she didn't communicate that want effectively, and it resulted in the professor being misled in terms of what he was expecting of the situation.
Yeah, I think kind of the way in that conversation that Gwen tried to communicate that was also a little bit like insensitive. I think, you know, somewhere there may have been an indication that the professor was kind of hoping or expecting or assuming that she would continue working with him as a postdoc. So, you know, it might have been important for Gwen to think about, you know, anticipate what the professor's expectations are before maybe bringing it up, or bringing it up in a little bit of a different way to just kind of acknowledge that this is a bit of a change of course.
Well, yeah, because I think we often have this idea that, like, our supervisors don't care about what we do, you know, that, like, once our degree is done, that's it, and they're not, you know, invested in the same way in our professional development as maybe we are. But obviously here, you know, this is someone who, even while at moments, you know, I sort of felt like a little paternalistic, you know, wanting Gwen to, like, follow in his footsteps, you know, there's obviously a sense that he is invested in what Gwen does going forward. So I think, like, always remembering that the supervisory relationship involves two people, and both parties are putting in work and time, and obviously on some level some, like, emotional, like, energy as well. And so, you know, obviously you're not married to whatever the expectations are that you start at the very beginning of that relationship, because people change, you change, like, that just happens. But it seemed like there was a lot of, like, alluding to this could be possible, and I think that at that moment there should have been more of a conversation around, like, clarity in what actions were going to be taken before, you know, they were taken, right?
And yeah, so I think that idea around using clear and definitive language, you know, talk about what you're doing, not what you might be doing, or really being clear and open about what your next moves are. And you know, just like Margot said, the supervisor is really invested in how you do as a student. They're really invested in your life. You've been working with this person for potentially years, and I think that that often they want to see the best. They want to see you accomplish what you want to accomplish. So if you're willing to open these conversations early, You never know what doors that might open to. They might know someone in an industry somewhere. They might have an inside look into a company, or they might have a deeper understanding of how to get your foot in the door. And by opening these conversations around graduation, I think is a really awesome time to start to talk about next steps.
I think seeing as your professor as being a support and an advocate and like someone who wants to see you succeed in whatever direction that you want to take your career in. From the student's perspective, if they have been entertaining a few different options, they were ambivalent about what is the next step in terms of their career, possibly looking at going to career services and kind of exploring that early can help increase the student's clarity and foster these discussions with the professor.
So what could Gwen do going forward then? So she's already found herself in this situation. What sort of next?
I think Gwen could apologize. I think she kind of not threw it in his face, but it could have been approached with a little bit more anticipation of kind of an upset reaction from the professor. So I think to repair that, I think both parties have a bit of a responsibility for sure, but Gwen could say, I'm sorry that came off that way, and I really do respect the work we've been doing, and kind of maybe give more background and maybe more reasons for what led her decision to want to take this job.
And I mean, it's like clear that she has some sense that like this news is not going to go over well because she's like really anxious about like delivering it, and hasn't really posed it so much as like a conversation, but sort of just like kind of vomiting out all of this information in like one go, which like for many of us feels like really overwhelming.
And not really being receptive, or not really even like acknowledging the professor's reaction, kind of just continuing on her course of saying, I'm going to be finishing July 1st. And so, both people are not on the same page in that conversation. So how to, I guess, navigate negotiating the completion date. So if she wants to finish July 1st, that would be an important conversation to move forward.
And one of the things that like I always love doing with students when we do our like one-on-one appointments, or sometimes we do these during our drop-ins as well, is doing like a practice run of a conversation. So let's just say, Gwen leaves this conversation, nothing has really been resolved, but obviously another conversation needs to be had. She can go ahead and like book an appointment with one of us and sit down, and we can, write out some different lines of things that she can say, that she can go into in the meeting, and always refer to if suddenly she feels like she's getting lost.
Definitely, if you're avoiding a difficult conversation around change of careers or change of plans, and you want to go over that conversation with one of us, we're happy to have that conversation with you. So book an appointment with one of us online. You can book through the Career Learning Network. That link might be below. And otherwise, tune in next episode of Sticky Situations.